welcome to the official Sacred Tales AMA. It's been a little bit since had a chance to talk with you guys, but we have some exciting stuff to bring you. As always, my name's Dustin. I'm here with Josh. We're going to kind of jump straight into things today. I know some of our AMAs have went a little bit longer, but we want to give you the juice right away. And I think you guys are going to be excited for what we're about to bring you. So what's up, Josh? How you been, man?
Yeah, really well, thank you. And just before we jump into things, can you guys hear us okay? Is Dustin's mic okay? Is my mic audible? Just let us know in the chat quickly before we jump in.
Yeah.
Loud and clear. Sounds great. Buzz McNasty. Awesome. So it's been a super exciting last couple of months. Really, it's all been all hands at work while we prepare for, the huge things that we have coming, which we'll obviously get into in the AMA. But yeah, it's really been about, gathering feedback from our players, and really kind of just, meticulously planning, the next 6-7 weeks that we've got coming up, because, they are really pivotal in everything that we've been building, and we need to make sure that we nail everything, and that comes from careful planning. So it's been great, and let's get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had a great meeting in the games, who's obviously building our game, and kind of outlined where we want to go, what direction we want to focus on. And I think you guys would be in agreement with what we're about to cover, because these three parts are going to be big, and they're going to be coming in the next build of the game. So first, Josh, let's kind of talk about the open beta timeline, what we're going to focus on, the priority of the open beta, and what is the player going to expect in this open beta.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, the open beta itself, we're anticipating for June 2023. We can't give an exact specific date yet, because obviously there is a plethora of development work that needs to go into the game itself to get it ready from where it currently is now to the position where we're really happy to fully open the doors to people to come in and play for absolutely free, which is of course huge. Any kind of paywalls or pay barriers really, really restrict the player base, the potential momentum that you can gain. If you look at any of the top industry developers, they all have one or two like freemium based games to bring in players, and it's such an effective structure to give people a taste of the game itself, get people to become fans of that game. And with that, obviously the human nature of competitiveness and wanting to win and wanting to evolve yourselves per se, that's kind of like comes hand in hand with a good game. And that's the most important thing for us at the moment. It's not about how can we monetize this to the absolute max, how can we maximize profits, etc., etc. That really isn't the stage that we're at right now. We're coming at this from a very kind of tactical perspective, in the sense that we truly want to bring in people to this world, and we want to convert them into fans, not just investors, but fans of the franchise. There's such a variety of different avenues that we've got with our intellectual property. For example, merch, plushies behind me, physical trading cards, even to the point of, an anime series in the future. That's all of these things are most definitely possible. And that's kind of the structure and the legacy that we're, building at Sacred Tales, which is why it's so important to leave no stone unturned in terms of, a strong lore, backstory, and, just that vibrance inside the world of Sacred Tales itself. Just to kind of hone in on the exact question that you asked me, Dustin. So what we're looking at in the next 6-7 weeks is that we'll be first focusing on, as we currently are, fixing the known bugs, combat bugs that are in the game. For example, I'm sure people who've played the closed beta are familiar with things like the evasion state of a Shinsei being a little bit skewed, just kind of some balancing tweaks to move. Sometimes damage won't appear where it should. So all of these functional, what we call functional fixes, will be focused on and are our main priorities. Then we move into the really kind of exciting stuff, which is the rebalancing, which we know a lot of people here will be really excited to hear. And the rebalancing comes in with like reduced energy costs. It comes with energy regeneration per turn for your Shinsei as well, which I'm sure everyone here can agree that it's definitely a little bit on the slower side at the moment. So that's something that we're really excited to kind of get stuck into and in improving. So what the main goal here is from our current stage to ready for open beta is that the game, even from your point of view as as beta testers that have currently played the game, it will feel like night and day from what you're used to at the moment. And I think we've built such a solid foundation of the game itself that and also to kind of put into perspective as well is what you see with a lot of these like indie game development studios is that, and there's nothing wrong with this, but a lot of the time they will reuse assets from asset stores like Unity asset store or the Unreal asset stores and things like that. And whilst there's nothing wrong with that, everything that we've done, we've built from the ground up, from scratch, absolutely, from the absolute bare bones. And what that really means is that all of this intellectual property is ours, which of course is huge moving forward into the future. So obviously the balancing that I mentioned before is incredibly important, because these new players are going to be coming in and we want to make the game first and foremost fun. That is our marketing point. That is our unique selling point. And that seems kind of weird to say that in a game, because you assume that games would be fun anyway. But if you look at the crypto space in particular, the games aren't focused on fun first. They're focused on how can they give an investor this amount of money, or it's built upon foundations, as we've mentioned before, that we simply feel are not sustainable for a legacy of a game. And that's certainly why when from the games that we grew up loving, that was never the priority, was to how much can we monetize it or how much can we extract from our players. We really feel against that. But of course, don't get me wrong, profits, investments, and exposure that comes with them are incredibly important, but it's really about that kind of fine balance between ensuring that the game first and foremost is fun, because then everything else after that flows a lot more naturally. So yeah,
Absolutely. And I think it's a smart decision, and I think everybody here would agree, because there's a lot of things that we want to do, and there's a lot of things on our radar to get done, and a lot of things we've talked about publicly, which those are things that we're always going to implement in the future. But first and foremost, we have to have the game fun, we have to have it enjoyable, and we took all that feedback from you guys that were playing the game, took it to Timba. They understand what we need to get done, and I think we're going to be in a good position, I think, when this open beta comes around, where you're going to have an experience that you're familiar with, but at the same time, it's going to almost feel like just a complete refresh as far as the battle system goes. Because you guys know, if you're having to re-roll Shinsei all the time just to find a team that you feel, is going to be good. In the meantime, obviously, we're going to integrate the NFTs into the game in the future. So those kind of things right now are just kind of short-term things we've been dealing with. But, a lot of times when you're doing moves or you're performing your next attack, you really have to think ahead. You might not have as much energy as you need to complete a battle, and sometimes you guys would be in a really strong position to win a game or a match, and then you just don't have that energy to finish it off. And I know that can be frustrating sometimes, or maybe you didn't select the right card that you thought you did, and then you get into a tournament and then you're kind of stuck there. Those things happened, and I think the way that we're going to rebalance and restructure this whole thing is going to give you guys a more competitive atmosphere. I think the battles are going to be a little bit quicker. They're not going to be drawn out as much. And there's going to be a lot of people, I think, that are going to be coming in to enjoy the game. So we want to get you on to the next battle and keep this thing moving. And I think, there's always a good, part to have that, long engaging battle at times. But sometimes you just want to, get through somebody, and move on. So I think the rebalance is just going to focus on just keeping the flow of the game moving, because I feel like that's important when you're looking at keeping players into a game long term, is having good flow in your matches. And that's what we're really focusing on.
Yeah.
So something that I'd like to ask you about, Josh. I know you kind of sent a little teaser out to people, and a lot of people are excited about this. I'm super excited about this because there's not a lot of projects that are doing it. I think Sacred Tales is a perfect fit, with our art style, with our play style for this. Let's kind of talk about the Epic Game Store and what it's going to take to get on there and when we're expecting to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely shared a sneak peek teaser. I couldn't quite help myself due to the pure excitement of it, because it really does give us a huge platform for distribution of Sacred Tales, and with everyone who's played our game, you'll know that the game itself, what we're building, is fantastic. That and the main kind of issue that you do have in the crypto hemisphere is exposure. And the Epic Game Store is obviously with over 270 million players. Bearing in mind, a lot of them come through Fortnite and Rocket League, etc. But even so, they do all still use that same portal to log in and access through PC. And there's every possibility that games like ours could be featured on the the trending top pages of recommendations to players. So it really gives you that free exposure to the masses, and that's something that we've been catering our game to be for, in terms of coming away from the standard NFT 2D based crypto games like Axie Infinity and games like that. Our game really has that immersion, that depth, and it's in my opinion standalone. When I get asked, for example, who are your competitors, of course you do have to appreciate the markets around you, but I really don't know another project that has the same ethos and mentality that we do. So I kind of feel like we kind of ride in our own lane in that sense. When people ask us, I mean, the real competitors, I would say, are obviously in the Web 2 side of things, and that's not something to that's certainly not a negative in my eyes, because that's everything that we've strive to be, because we truly feel like there should be no real separation between Web 2 and Web 3. A good game, regardless of the intricacies of the economy and things like that, a game is a good game. And there's plenty of Web 2 games that have showed that real life economies can work in games. For example, EVE Online, or that runs, essentially they could launch a cryptocurrency on that and it wouldn't change the infrastructure of their game much, because all of the transactions are done through real world investments into the game, in and out. So I mean, it's that we're talking about a game that's been out for 10 plus years. You've got obviously the RuneScapes, the World of Warcraft, of course. It's been the transactions have been through the what they call the black market. That's because the corporate companies that own these games don't want you buying and selling gold, because they would prefer to monetize their players themselves, which you can't blame them for, of course. But we're coming into a new age of gaming, and I think we're definitely at the forefront of that. And of course, when you're new and when you're innovative and coming so early like we are in the play to earn space, there's going to be a lot of pushback and uncertainty. I mean, you could days ages old examples of even when the web first came out, people in the newspapers were writing, oh, this is a fad, it's going to be over in 3-4 months. Like, there's certain things that once you've opened that box, there's no putting it back in. And things like blockchain gaming and the infrastructures and the economies that we're able to track and manage are here for the long-term sustainability of the future. And you can see a lot of smart influencers that are not necessarily feeling positive about bull markets incoming and things like that. But one thing that they do say is, regardless of whether a bull market's coming or not, Web3 gaming is going to take off, and 2023 to 2024 is going to absolutely skyrocket. And we are firm believers in that as well. I think I might have gone a little bit off track there. So back to the Epic Store and what the requirements are for the Epic Store. So, I'm sure as a lot of you know that I think there's maybe only around 14 games currently that have blockchain integration and are still listed on the Epic Store. So the first port of call is to go through the basic procedures of publication. So we integrate the very basic SDKs, which is like the developer kits that allow the Epic Store to pick up information from inside of our game. For example, you can do things like you can integrate leaderboard systems with the Epic, leaderboard systems. You can also do Epic integration logins. So these are all the plethora of choices that we've got. We are, planning to, keep the integrations down to a bare minimum, so that in terms of when you list on the Epic Game Store, you have to have meetings with the Epic team for publishings and listings, and they do require like extensive documentation, and anything blockchain related is where it gets. Sorry, my daughter is shouting. Anything blockchain integrated, that's where it becomes very, very tricky, because even though Epic Game Stores have said that, hey, we are going to be a home for blockchain games, even so it's still notoriously difficult. And I know, at least a handful of other developers that, are building, their own projects and games. And even they are, in the to and fro with Epic. So, the main port of call first is that we have the Web 2 version of Sacred Tales on the store with no blockchain integration at all. Now, that side of things shouldn't be, very tricky at all. But of course, with the plans of the blockchain integration coming, that is going to be a talking point in our meetings with the Epic team. So, we really need to iron that out with them, be very specific on, our future plans and our economy system and how things work. So, yeah, there's no kind of guarantees or promises of when exactly the Epic Game Store publication will be deployed, whether that will be on the day of the public beta. Of course, that would be my preference, but again, as always, I'll try and be as transparent as I can with you. It has to be done in due process. It's not something that we can necessarily control or give a specific time on, because again, it depends on the legal recourse between our team and theirs, in terms of documentation and identification and any other things that they may need from us, and also integrated into the game itself. So just the main kind of premise here is our priority. That is what we're working on, and as soon as we have more information on that, we will keep you guys informed on a daily basis. So yeah, I'm incredibly excited about it. And as always, good things take time. And just believe in that process, because we at the end of the day, we feel that this distribution platform will absolutely make the legacy of Sacred Tales.
Yeah, absolutely, Josh. You guys still hear me? Okay. Okay. There we go. Yeah. No, that was great stuff. And you just kind of think about the audience that you're going to be driving to, because one of the biggest questions that always came up to us in the past year and a half of doing these was, how do you get the non-crypto guy into blockchain gaming? Because every project looks at that like an obstacle forward, and talked about our in-game economy and stuff, because we've said in the past, like, we have to see proven models, and we've kind of sat down and thought about what is going to be long-term sustainable for Sacred Tales, and because we want to see this game go 10, 20 years. And I think these, taking the time now and doing things correctly is extremely important. But kind of back to bringing that gamer, that non-crypto guy into gaming and into crypto, I think that's one step with the perfect thing. Make people fans, get them involved with the community like yourselves. Our Discord then will be growing, active. So people are there to help, and you guys have always been super supportive of helping people if they either have problems with their wallet, with their NFTs, etc. So we never want to shove something down people's throats, right? Because that's just going to steer people away. But I truly believe that people are going to have a good time just playing the game. They're going to want to own digital assets from us from the very beginning, because why wouldn't you? Why do people want first edition Pokemon cards or the base set ones and stuff like that? Because that's where it all started. And I think that's super exciting for you guys that understand it, have got in early. You're going to be putting yourself in a good position. But just bringing those new guys in, it's gonna be something that's gonna be challenging, I think, for a lot of people to learn. You guys probably didn't just jump into trading on swap dexes and get involved in the DeFi just overnight. It took you some time. It took you some trial and error. Some of you people probably lost money doing it for the first time. So we're still want to streamline everything, and we're going to do our best to have. We want the player to be able to come in and be able to get tokens effortlessly. That's why we've always looked for avenues like MoonPay, etc. We want to try to find ways to make it, super simple. So I think Epic Store is great, Josh. We will keep you guys posted, kind of the processes through that. We told Timba that was kind of higher up on our priority list, but still not higher than the game good. So we're always going to continue, polishing, tuning, making sure the game is fun for you guys to play, and then we're going to tackle some of these other things. And the next thing I'm going to jump into is Playdex, because I've kind of been talking about it for a while. It's something that I have worked hand in hand, and now Josh is working hand in hand with the team over at Playdex. They've grown tremendously since I've even known them. Their team's expanding. They're contracting new people from around the world to handle marketing, to handle structure, and that is something that we want to do, and we are going to do with Playdex. And they've been backed with us. We have our own chat that's, we're always engaging with them. And really, it comes down to the same things, guys. We got to make sure that the game is, a fun experience for everybody, because a lot of people have tested, they put their feedbacks in, and then it's our job to take it to Timba to make sure that we, can correct this and make it as good as possible. But the Playdex API integration is also on our priority list for the next build. It's one of those things where you have to balance priorities, right? So, like always, we're going to try to keep the game, the game priorities first, and then we have everything else kind of sitting right here, But regardless, if it doesn't get put into the first segment, it will get put into the next build segment that's going to be coming right after, right? Because how we do it is we build these scopes, and we kind of figure out what we want to see in the vision of this build, and kind of manage everything from there. That way, we're keeping it, in line. And Playdex has been really good to us. And kind of, I want to share something. I want to get Playdex involved in an AMA with us at some point, because I think they're really good at sharing their future vision, better than I would be sharing their future visions. But something that they brought to our attention was they actually won an opportunity to become the official platform for collegiate esports in the Philippines. And I thought that was super cool, because what comes with that, it comes with your mass media campaigns. It's going to be on Filipino television stations. It's going to be streamed, on a wide stage, and you're going to have universities and collegiate players now, playing the games on the Playdex platform. And I think that's just super cool to, possibly be involved in that. And they brought that to our attention for a reason, because they do feel, I think, that we would provide a good platform for some of those players.
Yeah.
We're definitely excited about that. And Josh, would you like to add something to the play jet?
Yeah, no, just picking up from where you left off. I think you were a bit. I think you played it down a bit, definitely, because what they actually did say to us, and was that they wanted us to be one of their official launch partners for this collegiate esports, which I think is worth kind of talking about on its own, because of that, the exposure that can potentially bring us, is huge. To be on live TV in the Philippines with people playing the game, the game itself. And the thing is about Sacred Tales is it's so visually pleasing, and this is how you get eyes on the project. Is when people are walking past or interested in any kind of esports, and they see two people playing in a hugely competitive game that maybe has resemblances to Pokemon, but it's got this new dynamic energy system, looks a bit different, looks more competitive. And that's where it gets really exciting, because that's really how you start to really organically grow your fan base, and that's really what the groundwork of what we're trying to set in here, isn't it, Dustin? To be able to. Yeah. And I know that people see it as a cop-out, that a good product markets itself. And in ways, yes, because, there's always work that's needed to be done, and help the exposure and add to the mix, and to kind of act as a catalyst to what you've already built. But at the same time, when you want to jump back into development and grow and build and upgrade and improve, if you've set a good precedent for the community organically growing on a day-by-day basis, when you go in and you do that, when you come back out and you're ready to issue your next product, you're growing your fan base day by day. And the more people that are in that in this space and enjoying this game, the more people they talk to. And and that's why it's so important for us, because it's all about consistency and sustainability at the end of the day. And that's the same in any business. And that has to be at the forefront of whatever we do, as always. And I really feel like we've managed that well. I feel like we're incredibly lucky to have the community that we do as well, because obviously we know that crypto is not a particularly patient space. Everyone's looking for quick gains and things like that. But I think that the people here can really see the vision that we're building in the future. And all it takes really, in terms of, we're talking about price growth on a token, that can happen in a matter of days. Like, it's not this huge obstacle to pass. It's, you really have to just issue out the product and catch that that kind of take the specific targets in the kind of market sentiment and things like that. And having a good project, having a good game and things like that, really kind of amplify everything that we're doing. It's so much more than just hype tactics, which of course are effective, and they do work, and they do have their time and place, right? But for us, it really kind of transcends that, and I'm super excited for what's to come.
Definitely. No, Josh, I think you were spot on with that too, and just talking about hype projects and how things can just change in minutes in the space. That is 100% true, and there's so many examples. Just like Axie Infinity, for instance. There's, especially I think with gaming projects, because of the development time that we have. But our team has really cracked down on focusing on what's important and where we should be spending the resources, and that is building and polishing the game. And an MMORPG has really long build times, and it's even where we're at in a year is pretty remarkable. And just imagine, I know I've said it before, but I can't even imagine the next couple of years what the game is going to look like. And I think with making these moves like Epic Game Store, Playdex, our marketing campaigns that we're going to release when we go public, that's just going to magnitude everything, and those, we have a higher probability of those kind of price explosions. But we're not financial, this is not financial advice. Like always, never going to shove by something,
No.
because we're going to continue to do our job the way we're going to do it, and focus on building. And that's what says, when you get into these new projects, usually it's boom, boom, and then you don't know what happens afterwards. You guys have been with us for a long time, so we've been constantly doing AMAs, constantly building, constantly making the game better, and not every project does that. So I think it kind of gives a little peace of mind when we approach some of these other partners and stuff, because we have experience now. We've been in this kind of circle. We went through the bear, and I think we came out in a good position. So I think it's only exciting moving forward. And I know I'm excited about Playdex. We're going to be looking to integrate their API. So what that's going to do, that's going to track all of the in-game statistics. So you'll be able to join that, the platform over there, and see where you rank up on their leaderboards. And they do different types of tournaments. So sometimes it'll be a knockout tournament that they'll put together, or they'll do like kind of like a reward, or like a seasonal type tournament based on points. So then you can track, and the team is also going to be tracking the players and how other players are performing, making sure everyone's performing cleanly, there's no cheating, etc. We're going to do our best with two different teams to make sure that we have a formula that works and keeps it fair for everybody. But I think it's just excited to bring that level of competitiveness to the next, and we're super excited about it. And Josh, we kind of shared about this next scope of what we're going to be building in the game. I just kind of wanted to talk to you about, like, how do you see the vision of the game moving forward throughout the summer into the new year? In your mind, like, what does the world of Sacred Tales look like a year from now, let's say?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. For us, we already have obviously one village at the moment. And my brain is constantly whirling onto what the next town or the city is going to be, where the next expansive places in the map is going to be. I have ideas in terms of the most immediate next city, which is something that I'm going to keep a little bit tight-lipped for now until things are confirmed. But it's while it sticks with the kind of time period and theme, like the technological like age that the world is in and things like that. It's definitely different from the current like the classic kind of Edo style village that we have at the moment. So it's really about kind of expanding, bringing more things to the world, more places to explore, in terms of more content. So for us, it's really important to have like a single player campaign mode as well, to give people quests and things to do in between their competitive natures of battling against each other. Whilst the competitive part of the game is the main focal point of Sacred Tales, we also want to expand and provide a variety of different play options, because not everyone in this world likes PvP content. A lot of people like PvE content, player versus environment content. So that is definitely something that we're going to be focusing on. Things that really interest me in the future that obviously aren't confirmed yet are a thing like group raid bosses, for people to be able to team up and go and take on Titan, Shinsei, or who knows what will come in the future for the type of things that you'll have to battle with. But we've got such a plethora of different options that we can pursue, and I think that's why it makes the theme of the game that we picked incredibly daunting, like being completely honest, because an MMO is it's a lot simpler to just build a very strict based game where it's just battle here, battle there, and that's what the game is. But when you do take on the challenge of building an MMO, that also opens up so many different doors of possibility of expansion and opportunity, and that's something that I'm super excited about. Now, another focal point that we'll be having this year is of course the Sacred Tales Stadium. Now the Sacred Tales Stadium is something that I'm super excited about. It's going to be one of my favorite features, and I'm going to have a real hands-on input in the building of the stadium itself. Obviously you've seen some of the outside circumference of the stadium in the 3D renders in game. However, while the main kind of Lotus theme of the stadium will be sticking, there's going to be expansions all across the outer perimeter of the stadium to give players options for like more social interactions, places to play mini games with each other, ticket booths so that you can actually queue up and actually be able to buy NFT tickets to live events, esport events. So for example, the Tournament of Tales, which will be a seasonal based tournament system in Sacred Tales, which will happen perhaps every 3 to 6 months. The time lanes obviously can change, and there'll be different tournaments in between those, but there'll be a very limited capacity of people that will be able to come in and watch these matches live. Of course, you'll be able to watch them in the tavern on the TVs, or obviously live streamed on Twitch too. But if you want your avatar to actually be in there and be a part of that history, and be able to get involved in watching these huge prize pool tournaments live with perhaps even you're the one in the stadium. Perhaps you walk into that stadium with your avatar and there's 1,000 people around you watching and cheering, and people have bought your different merches for the days. You've got different team theme colors maybe, and a percentage of those sales that you generate for your player playing in that tournament in the finals go directly to you, the player. Or just amazing possibilities of being able to reward players, and also one thing that's maybe a little bit kind of like tongue-in-cheek, but even being able to resell tickets. So to be able to queue up on the day with some other people and being able to flip those tickets on the actual game day for profit, if that's something that you want to do. Like, we want to be able to just give you as many options to have a free economy in the game as possible, without us kind of controlling what you can and can't do. In a sense, we want to give that freedom to you like you have in the real world. The real world doesn't have these restrictions on whether you can buy something and resell it for more money, and you can buy this but you can't sell this. This is not the Web3 way. This is not what decentralization means. And yeah, that's something that really excites me as well. What else can we be looking forward to this year? God, there's so many different things, but of course, the mini games for us are super important, to be able to actually participate in mini games using your actual Shinsei as well. I think it's something that's super exciting. So it's not just avatar based mini games. There'll be games where you can use your Shinsei, and there might even be ways where, depending on the stats of your Shinsei, they correlate to that mini game. So, what that does is maybe, you've got a Shinsei of allocations of stats that are really suited to a certain type of minigame rather than battling. So, it just kind of, the possibilities for, customization and use case, for all the different scenarios of your NFTs are super useful. And of course, we've got the most important, thing here, and it's something that will jump into a bit more when we talk about the next segment with NFTs and legacy Shinsei, are the rewards to legacy Shinsei holders. And that's something that's super important to know in the future. And while you're not feeling that right now, if you do own a legacy Shinsei in the future, they will give you access tickets to legacy only tournaments. And these tournaments, could potentially have, in really high prize pools. And, as the game progresses and the player counts increasing, more and more, these legacy Shinsei will almost act as not just as, powerful Shinsei, but access entry tickets to exclusive legacy tournaments, which I'm sure you can imagine with the cap that we have on the Shinsei, with player adoption, and you're looking at Shinseis, the Shinseis themselves becoming into the tens of thousands of different variations of Shinseis, with breeding coming and things like that. They're really gonna, have a super strong use case in the future. So yeah, really excited to discuss the future. It's one of my favorite questions.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm surprised you didn't keep going, because I talked to you, and you have you have the vision. I think that is perfect. For the job that you do, in this game is perfect for you, because it's just limitless of possibilities. And when you say things like expanding new towns and expanding here, and I mean that just gets me excited, because just imagine, guys, when you've been in the servers before, when there's 150 people or 200 people now in there, it's going to feel extremely crowded. So we're going to be pushed to have to expand quickly, because I do feel like there's lots of room and there's lots of things. And if you guys ever have like an idea of what you'd ever want to see, hop in the Discord, or hop in one of the channels, and put your inputs in, because I think it's all about community, and it's all about, this is our vision together. But you kind of hinted a little bit towards these new NFTs, and do you kind of want to talk about the new elements, what the idea is behind the new elements, and kind of
Yeah.
when we could expect them?
Yeah, absolutely. First off, just I see we have a newcomer, Bromo Tiffany from the Crypto Tavern is jumping out now. So thank you for joining us today, Bromo. It's good to have you here. And yeah, to talk about the NFTs. So as you guys know already, elements 1 to 7 have been released. We have about around 65% minted out on those so far. Now, we had a huge discussion internally about, in terms of when we do mint out the rest of these Shinsei and we release the new elements, the problem that we foresee is that, the new players that come in are not going to have a possibility to mint, the old initial 7 elements. And for us also, we've had a variety of messages about what in the new elements and when are they coming out, and we want them, and it's something that we've been working on now. We've been discussing what we want to do with the new elements, and what we've decided to do is in the very near future, within like a week or so, we will be pulling the remaining first 6 elements, so not including celestials, but we'll be pulling them out of the current batch for sale. So elements 1 through 6, so sun, ocean, nature, dark, light, and the other one that's going to come back to me in a minute. This is 13, so bear with me. But yes, they're going to be pulled out of the remaining 1,100 Shinsei that are available for purchase. And what we will be doing is replacing them on a like-for-like basis with the brand new elements. So elements 8 through 13 will be brought in, and they'll be brought in on a rarity weight basis. So what that means is that Ocean, Tim says, thanks Tim. So what that means is, by a weight distribution, is that, for example, if there are 5 legendaries in element 1, they will be replaced with 5 legendaries in element 8, and that will process through element 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So what that means is that there will be the same amount of legendaries, rares, epics, commons, uncommons, etc., transferring over into the current sale of the first 3,000. Now those new elements will be available for sale for BUSD. And what that means is, when they do sell out onto the 3,000, the remaining Shinsei will all go for Sacred Tales tokens only, and they will include all the elements all the way through. So what that enables newcomers to do is have the ability to purchase Legacy Shinsei for and they'll be able to receive a whole different variation of Shinsei, rather than just being restricted to 50% of the elements, which at the original time, it felt like a good idea, but obviously as time progresses, you need to move with those times and make any adjustments necessary. So yeah, super exciting that we're going to be able to offer the brand new elements soon to you guys to be able to mint. And of course, if you do want to wait till the second batch, you're more than welcome to do so. However, a surprise announcement that we will add in is, we are actually going to be adding in 10% extra legendaries to the weight distribution. So there will be a higher benefit for people to mint Shinsei in this first batch, as there will be a very slight increase in the legendary scarcity in this first batch, meaning that early investors will have more of an opportunity to get their hands on a legendary Shinsei from the new elements, as a way of us saying thank you. And of course, this stage of our NFT sale is obviously integral to being able to build the very best game that we need to be able to build, because games are not cheap, and there are plenty of things that we want to do and want to expand to, and we really want to seize that opportunity, which is here and now, to build the very best game that we can do. So yeah, super exciting, and really looking forward to seeing those new elements. I think I've shared a few pictures in the Telegram, but we've been actually upgrading the new elements themselves with upgraded textures, things like the metallic reflections of the Shinsei. We've got Shinsei like Mecha, which are metal in their properties, and they need to have corresponding metallic effects based to them. So yeah, super exciting, all of the different variations and all the different textures, metallic properties. There's so many different things that go into the perfecting of our NFTs and our Shinsei, and of course that translates into the final quality of the graphics in game as well. So it's always two birds, one stone kind of situation there.
That is awesome news. And I like something that you said. You really highlighted the importance of, what legacy Shinseis mean to us and what they mean probably to you guys. I mean, some of you guys listening probably have quite a few legacy Shinseis. Maybe you have, thought that you have too many, because, they're fun to mint, and sometimes you can get carried away with yourself. But, honestly, I think that is probably one of the smartest things, just having a full set, or as many as possible, just because the fact is, like Josh says, legacy exclusive events that are going to have bigger prize pools, that are going to be more meaningful. There's going to be the tool to lend your Shinseis out through double protocol, so your barrier to rent those out may be a little bit higher than some of the others, because some people would want to get in and just play normal tournaments, or just battle normally. So you can kind of let those slide a little bit cheaper if you want. But the legacy stuff, that's your first edition, cards right there. Those are, as we move along in developments, as we move on in the process of the game, those are going to be really sought after, because Josh says, like, when we're talking play decks even, or we're talking, the Epic Game Store, we really, our main focus on this market direction is to bring in this player base, get people excited. We want you guys to go on the servers and see people, and 3,000 Shinsei can get eaten up really quickly when you start getting players in there. So I think a lot of you guys took a really strong position, and I think you will definitely be loving it once you're renting those out for, heavy dollars and possibly getting some winnings from some of these exclusive tournaments. And we're also going to be holding events that are just exclusive for the Legacy Shinsei holders. So don't think it's just this that's going to be involved. We've been thinking about ways to incentivize you guys as much as possible, because without you, we wouldn't be where we're at today. And the continuation of this moving forward, like, you guys are the backbone to this project and you are the driver of the vision. So we appreciate you a ton, and we'll always look for ways to incentivize you guys as much as possible. So just wanted to share that with you. So now I kind of want to jump on some of the marketing stuff, because that's always a question. I know a lot of people always want to see it happening, and I think with what we have coming in place, I'll kind of share with you my vision of what we're going to see happen. I know our marketing team itself has been growing internally. We're always looking and talking to people that have been in the space for a long time. I personally had a couple meetings last week with some, like, more firms to kind of get their input on direction, and those people are very expensive, by the way. So I can't justify spending as much as what some people ask for, but I love professional opinions. I have a lot of people that are just interested in joining with us for free, to just want to be a part of this journey with us and what we're building, because we really truly speak passion to these people, and they understand that. And marketing is extremely tricky in this space. Don't get me wrong. It's always evolving. It's always changing. But one thing that's always been proven is normal brand marketing, especially in the gaming industry or any other category that you've ever looked into, whether you're into anime shows. The branding of the anime show is always got to be up top. When you see that logo, you know where it's at. And I think that's super important, just that brand recognition. And we're gonna, that's the whole static ad stuff, and we're really gonna tackle that stuff heavy on not just blockchain gaming platforms, but just normal gaming platforms. Because now we give them an avenue to go on Epic Store, or possibly another platform out there if we see fit. Because we're not limited to only one platform to launch our game on. We want to get as much audience as humanly possible. So we're always going to be doing the outreach, and I track the statistics on the impression rates and stuff like that. And that's always a little marketing tactic for more brand recognition stuff that I will always continue to use. But let me get into this a little bit. So when we're going to announce the date for the Epic Store, obviously there's a lot of steps that we got to go through, but we're pretty confident with the people we're talking to that we can make this happen. So once we get the date in line, there's going to be a special trailer that we're going to get made, and I'm going to be in the process of helping make that. That is going to be kind of evolved just for the Epic Store. So you're going to see, some intense gameplay, some stuff, and then coming to the Epic Store. Short, 30 seconds, something that I can take to TikTok, something I can do YouTube shorts, somewhere that we can plaster on websites. Just get it out there, like, boom, 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 excitement, Epic Store. I mean, that is going to get people excited. It's little stuff like that. I think the build up and creating this build up, once we get the full date and the green light goes, we really want to build up the hype on the Epic Store stuff. We're going to do 2 press releases on 2 major outlets. So I kind of have the ones that I've kind of wanted to pick out, like Gamer Rant was one of them that I wanted to kind of pursue. I've been talking with a writer over there. There's also a few other blockchain based ones that use, like, Yahoo Finance. We've been talking to writers over there. It's not very expensive to get done. I just want to make sure that the writer gets the vision done right, and kind of outlines and paints the picture to everybody how we see it. We also want to, I'm sorry of this. So Playdex obviously has their own internal marketing team that we've been working with. So when we start running some of these Playdex tournaments, the marketing we're also going to be assisted on the other side from Playdex. And I think with just the base that we've used in the past with people making review videos or working with me in private groups that we have for, like, Sacred Tales, Filipino content creators, stuff like that, like, we have the tools to really push events like that are tailored to the Filipino audience, like Playdex. Like when they all get together and they all pump out information about a tournament, I think that's going to create a ton of hype. And already Playdex is getting pretty strong player bases in some of their games, but I think once our marketing steps in with their marketing, we're going to start seeing some heavy player base kind of floating over there to Playdex side. I talked about the static ads. I'm also going to create a list of the content creators that are going to be, either streaming or reviewing the game. Now I'm creating like an application type form that we're going to get out to a bunch of different content creator groups, because they've kind of formed like little groups together, and they kind of analyze, things together. So I'm going to put that up, a feeler out there, give them a little bit of an incentive to play the game, to become like a dedicated streamer, content creator. I'm then gonna vet it personally, and then I'm gonna take it to the marketing team. Once the marketing team finds the ones that we like, then we can take that to the community. That way, you guys can see kind of who we're dealing with, because I think all of your inputs matter on stuff like that. We're always going to be continuing to do outside AMAs, networking, doing different events, open mics, etc. We're always going to kind of be involved in those. And we're also going to be looking at partnerships that propel the project to the next level. So there's always new organizations, new projects that are coming into the space that have really good ideas that we've like looked at and like, wow, that's really cool. I think we send them a message and kind of just hit it off, and then that what happens is a partnership. So you always got to be aware of what's going on and changing in the space, and you always have to be networking and engaging yourself with these projects. With big events and the open beta coming, we really want to focus marketing and spending on marketing on events like this, stuff that matters. In the meantime, we'll always do a little trickle marketing here or there, do little community events, promote those. But ultimately, we want to, save, big spending for big events, and those are coming in the next build. I think that's really, all for me, Josh, on that front. I don't know if you want to chime in a little bit on the marketing, because you have been, dabbling in marketing a little bit more. You have a ton of connections in the space as well, so it's been a big help for us.
Yeah, I think the best kinds of marketing are the ones where and it's not it's the same in anything in business. It's all about who you know and your relationships with other projects, other Telegram groups, and these kinds of there's many different private groups as well with 50 to 100 to 200 people in, and these people can potentially be huge investors. They could be having their eyes on the projects constantly. You're able to provide updates on a consistent basis, and maybe the first time they see a post they're not really too bothered. Maybe the second time, third time, fourth time, when they come in and see the extensive AMA that we've just done, and they get to know us a bit better, and they can see the determination in their and the resulting, I can't think of the word, the tenacity. I'll rephrase the tenacity that comes with the territory of being in the Sacred Tales team. These things are super important, because you can't always throw money at a paid pinned post in some random Telegram. The days of these things are well and truly buried. It's all about organic partnerships, finding good people in this space, and that's something that I do quite a lot as well. When I'm not in our team meetings or in the development suite, I'm engaging via Telegram with my own community, because obviously I love spending time with you guys and getting your feedback and just being part of the community myself, which is probably something a little bit unusual in this space. But also kind of just being in there and meeting these new communities and having the ability and the platform to talk about us and say to people and challenge people on their ideals of what they class as right and wrong as in terms of an investment potential and play to earn's future, and all of these things. I'm happy to go toe to toe with people on there, because I guarantee there's been no one in this space, there's been no developers in this space who have built a play to earn game that genuinely care about their game and they care about their community and their investors. It doesn't exist. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sure there are other good projects out there that I don't know about, but this is kind of the problem that we're kind of facing, is that these the good projects that wear their hearts on their sleeves and truly care about creating a long-lasting legacy in this space don't necessarily get heard about, because the people that do get heard about are the ones who chuck money at meme coin investing and marketing and self-promotion, and look at, for example, the Pepe token that's just absolutely rocketed. What they actually did was had an airdrop distribution for ARB. So they basically piggybacked on all of the ARB holders that got airdropped and offered them free tokens by pushing out a certain tweet with a certain hashtag, and they're able to tap into the thousands of different holders that applied for the ARB airdrop off the back of them. And is that sustainable? No. Is that morally okay? Not in my opinion. But as we said, memes are for fun. Don't take them too seriously. Be responsible with your investments on them. And obviously, when you can get your initials out, please do so. I'm sure that many of you here like to invest in these types of things. I know we all do it with crypto, right? We all like to have a bit of fun sometimes, but just be responsible with these kind of things, because as fast as they rise, the faster they fall as well. And obviously, that's not all the time, but just my two cents to people in that regard. But the point is that kind of marketing is viral, it's effective, it's clever, but it's not sustainable in the future. Now that's fine and that's suitable for a meme token that wants to have that rise to the sun and back. That's absolutely fine if that's the kind of project you are. But we have to create sustainability from the ground up. Everything that we have to do, everything that we do has to represent our brand. If we're going to go into a corporate meeting in the future with a big company that wants to invest in the game or wants to invest in and put their brand as advertisement in our tavern, because I don't know if you know, but we've got the neon tavern signs, we've got various allocations where people can actually market real life products inside our game as another income generator for the company. Now, we have to make sure that everything is run officially, everything is done properly. We're not, promising returns on NFTs with passive income, so we could be classed as an unregistered security. All of these things, we have to run the company properly, the right way, not take any shortcuts, because at the end of the day, these shortcuts will come and bite people like that, in the long term future. I mean, we all can see the kind of regulations that are happening in the US at the moment, which are incredibly, it feels incredibly kind of claustrophobic, especially if you're a crypto investor / founder. You're not really knowing what's what, where to look, what's safe, what's not. So that's why it's so integral for us to not take shortcuts, even if that could magnify our crowd by allocating us to be able to, if you buy our NFTs, you're going to get this profit share and X amount and this. And don't get us wrong, we will find ways to integrate profits from our company to our investors, but there are correct and right ways to do that, and we're not prepared to kind of break legislations or laws to benefit ourselves. And that's where we really will stand out from the rest, and that's why that we'll have that long and lasting legacy.
Yeah, well put, well put. I'm just excited this new scope moving forward with the build. I know you guys are all going to be excited to see the game changing. I know, we've been playing this kind of the current state for the last couple months while, we've kind of tried to figure what direction we want to go with the game. But I think now that we kind of see, where we need to be headed and the fixes that need to be made, I feel really excited just moving this game to market and moving forward. And we didn't really talk about blockchain integration too much because we have talked about it in the past. If you've listened to some of our other AMAs, you've kind of know our stance behind the blockchain integration side. It's certainly something that we're going to be incorporating into the full game launch. But really, our whole objective is to make have a long-term sustainable model. And you can't really look at another project and say that they found the perfect formula. Um, I don't know if there's a game out there that could last forever, or 10, 20 years with the current models that are out there, just because it's not liquid enough. There isn't enough there to drive the players and bring in new players with the potential to earn. So I think Josh and I have had some really good conversations about what can work long term. And now when we're approaching some of these blockchain engineers, we like to hear what their take is on it and how they see the long-term sustainability. I think the tournament model is fantastic. It's something that is controllable based on, the players and the transactions that are taking place and within our ecosystem. It's a good place to start. So even though blockchain integration currently isn't present as far as like taking, connecting your wallet to the game and being able to make transactions with inside the game, there is still an aspect of earning, in Sacred Tales with the tournaments that we throw, with the community events that we host, and now, Playdex is going to have an opportunity to, have cash prizes with them. So we want to make sure we get it right. And I think that's the right thing, is what we need to do moving forward. So really the priority is making sure that you guys can get your NFTs into the game and playing with your NFTs, because that's probably what most people are looking forward to do, throughout this year. But as far as the earning aspect goes, we definitely, before we make any official statements, we just have to have a solid, concrete idea. And we're going to continue to build on those ideas to bring you the best possible solutions. And I don't know if you'd like to add something to that, Josh.
Yeah, no, I just want to add to that. There is definitely benefits to the way that we've done things, the way that we've structured things. As I mentioned in a brief message in the Sacred Tales chat regarding like the Epic Game Store distribution. Now, our lives are a lot easier at the point where we don't have blockchain integration. So we're able to list on the Epic Game Store faster, quicker, and more efficiently. And, whilst the game is in that early access phase, without any Web3 integration, that enables us to work with the Epic team to, make sure that we find a way that we can keep the game on the Epic Game Store when the blockchain integration comes live. Now, I know I had a few private questions regarding that. Would it be that we'll be on the Epic Game Store until we're ready for blockchain integration, and then we'll go solo? My intuition here is that there is proven ways that the blockchain integration in games can be approved by the Epic Games Store. I've seen it with games that are subpar to us, and they've been able to work with the Epic Games Store team to transition from early access into their live full game, whilst also keeping Epic Games Store as their distributor, which is of course a huge win. So whilst I understand like the want to have your own Shinsei in the game and things like that, you have to remember that is coming. There's no scenario where that doesn't come. But the thing to remember here is that we want players to come in, we want the exposure, we want new people to come in. Okay, maybe you won't be able to battle with your specific Shinsei at this current moment, but like to see this game that you've been there at the ground level, you've seen the different iterations and the different builds to this final build that we're pushing out to the public, and to see all these new players coming in and chatting and asking questions and hopefully potentially flooding into the Telegrams, the Discords, asking for instructions, FAQs, throwing questions around. Because listen, once you label a game as free and there's no restrictions for people to come in, people will come in and they will try it, because there's no financial risk for them to do so. And I don't know if it's just me or not, but I really see this position that we're in, that we don't have the blockchain integration ready to go at this second, as a positive. Because the main priority here that blockchain games have, even with their mainnet, I've seen games rush their mainnet out, and then they're just struggling to find players, struggling to have that exposure, because they haven't done things the right way, the right process. So for me, I find it incredibly exciting. I understand the sentiment with investors and wanting to play with your own Shinsei, but the main focal point for us right now is to have a successful public beta and have it Web 2, so that we can still have the distribution of the Epic Games Store without the documentation and all the legal recourse that we're going to have to do in the future to keep that going. It's coming, but we're doing it the right way. So yeah, really excited.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've covered a lot today, a lot of exciting stuff. I don't know if we want to give some time for maybe some questions to come through. If any of you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot them at us right now.
Yeah.
And then, other than that, I think we've about covered everything that we needed to. So, Josh, do you see any questions from the community out there?
Not at the moment, but yeah, feel free to shoot us some questions in the Twitch chat if you have anything for us. Or if you're watching this later on, not live, and you have questions, of course, chuck it in the Telegram for us, and we'll always be around to to respond to them as always. But yeah, just while we're waiting, and just to see if there's any, there is any other questions coming in, just to kind of recap over everything. Yeah, I'm really excited, and the thing that I'm most excited for, and this is just the kind of gamer in me, is just that that rebalancing of the energy, the energy reductions. I've been over the pre-process of all of the buffs for the moves and the new energy costs, and they are everything just really starts to click and make more sense. Because and it was I had this conversation with our developers the other day, and we the kind of focal point that we came to the agreement on is it's so close to being truly fun and enjoyable. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it is, in my opinion, but for the masses, for the world to come in and play, and it just needs these final balances and this final polishing, and the game itself is magnificent, and it is such a strong base for us to build and grow upon. So I'm really excited to get in there and test out these new builds, and of course we'll be doing like weekly community events with these new builds, and people in our closed beta community will be actually acting as part-time Q&A testers to get their hands on it first, exclusive. The day after the new build drops, you'll be coming in and playing with us. Of course, there'll be rewards and incentives for participating as a QA tester in the long term. So we'd highly recommend to jump in and do it if you have the time. Of course, everyone has different times on weekends, and we understand that. But the more the merrier, that we're able to utilize our community to kind of help us in that regard, enables us to push all of the development costs into the actual engineers doing the work, rather than paying for separate Q&A testing. It's full focus on development throughout the week, Monday to Friday, and then the weekends when they're off, we're on and we're fine-tuning and testing absolutely everything and giving sufficient feedback. So I think it's going to be a really exciting 6-7 weeks coming up and leading up to the public beta. Tim asks, not sure if this was said, but the Epic Game Store release, is it going to be timed with the public beta? Yeah, so it's a good question. I can't give you a final answer at the moment. It may be the case that we do a soft launch if we can't get the Epic integration over the line in time, but obviously we're working to get that done so that we can have the public beta in time for the Epic Game Store integration. But it can't be 100% confirmed because there are some things that aren't in our control, and it depends on the meetings that we have over the next couple of weeks with the Epic team. So we have another question from Michael. I wasn't here from the beginning, but how about security cheats kind of thing in game? Yeah, it's a good question. Like, honestly, even in the most, the AAA budget games, there are always cheats, there are always loopholes, there are always exploits. And if anyone was to say to you now, oh no, we've got it all handled, it's all going to be fine, it's not true. There will always be things for us to be monitoring on a daily basis. We will have a team that are monitoring and checking for suspicious activity, and that we'll be studying the game meticulously, especially from the public beta launch, to like watch player actions, player behaviors, and anything that needs to be adjusted will be adjusted in real time. Ryan Black Crypto, hi Ryan, looks great guys. I still had a question about the cosmetic rewards, like from the battle pass. Will these be considered as NFTs as well? It's a good question. I can't actually confirm that to you yet. It's whilst NFTs in themselves are incredible, not everything in the game will necessarily be an NFT. That's from a plethora of like the coding side of things. It might prove to take longer if that is how we have to do it, but it very well could be that the majority of them are in the NFT forms as well. I personally am of the opinion, if you go back to my discussion about NFT tickets to access a stadium on a game day, that kind of gives you the idea that I really want to NFT as many things as possible without kind of running into gating problems and things like that in the future. So not a very direct answer to your question there, but as soon as we can give more information on that, we will. Are you seeing any more questions, Dustin?
Let's check and see if there's anything else over here. I'm not seeing anything.
Uh, mm, so there's a
One
good
thing, guys, that I will say, sorry, Josh, for cutting you
no,
off
no.
there. Josh kind of spoke about, taking out the current elements of our NFTs, our Legacy Shinsei. So if you don't have Legacy Shinsei and you want to get some, I would probably act pretty soon to get your first elements of the Legacy Shinsei, because though we'll be taking those out and replacing those with the new elements, and I think it's a good opportunity for somebody to come in and try to grab a few before it's too late. We will cycle them back in, but I think the demand may be a little bit higher when they come back. So.
Yeah, exactly. Sadie's has a question. Can we play while they are making the last updates to the game? Yes, so it might be the case that during that week, it won't be available for you to play, as they'll be making updates and upgrades on the game, and then the builds will be different. And obviously, as it's server related, if you're not on that current build, that could mess things up. So maybe that the weekdays, the servers are not accessible to the public, and then the new build will be dropped on like a Friday evening or a Saturday morning, and then you'll be able to test the new build that weekend, which is a better thing anyway, as it's such a niche community that we have like almost hand selected in terms of who will be participating in the QA testing, because obviously you need to have sufficient knowledge of the game and the progress. You can't just kind of jump in without knowing that how the game was and how it functioned before, and you're not able to give the best kind of feedback, are you, if you're not familiar with it. So yeah, the weekends will be the main days where people can jump in and play the updates. Sadie's also asks, will we have any collaboration with any security company? Yeah, so of course we're partnered with Certic. That Certic security is a partnership between us, our companies. It's not just a simple audit. We have like live Skynet monitoring on our systems constantly. So any kind of malicious activity or anything like that, we are alerted to immediately. This is an ongoing partnership for the longevity of our project. And of course, any future iterations of contracts or anything like that, we will be in touch with, security firms. But as McNasty, when Moon joke, but when plushies and t-shirts. Yeah, the plushie, as you can see behind me, they will be available for purchase in the future. I can't give a confirmed date and time yet, but the 3D renders, for example, the dark rare behind me has all been generated and can be mass produced. Of course, with each different kind of element that we do need to get the 3D renders processed into CAD and then into production. So these things do take time. But yeah, the merch for us is obviously something that we're really excited about, and think that we've got a lot of exciting content that we can offer. But again, the main focus at the moment is on the game, growing the fan user base, and then when we have that fan base that are wanting the merch, then we can really put some time and energy into making that perfect. Ryan has one more question. Do you anticipate future builds have an auto update build built into the client so that we don't have to keep re-downloading them and unzipping the files? Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Obviously, these are like quality of life updates, and they're not necessarily big updates. Like, we already have like a pop-up notification if you're using an old build. It's not like a huge deal for us to do that, but it does require us to make some changes to the infrastructure of our website and how the game operates on the server. So it's a quality of life update that we want to add in the future, but it's not on our immediate priority list. All right. So I think that's everything. I think we've answered all the questions that I can see. I don't know if there's anything else you want to kind of summarize, conclude up with, Dustin. But yeah, thank you everyone for listening to the AMA today. It's been great to have Dustin back on with me and chatting on things. I know it's been a little while since we did our last AMA, but we've been really busy working hard on things, and excited to have you guys join us on that journey again.
Absolutely, Josh, man. It's always fun talking with you. And I talk to you a lot that people don't realize, but talking with you in front of people is always a little bit more pleasant, you know. We get to, I think, hear the vision a little
Yeah.
bit better because, you know, part of this process of building a game, you know, it's there's opinions involved. There's always some things that we need to improve on to make this project better. And I think constructive criticism sometimes is always good. And I think just being in front of the community here and getting a chance to share kind of what some of the things we've been working on is extremely important. And I've been wanting to talk about the play deck situation for a long time, and I think it's starting to come to fruition. And now with Epic Games around the corner too, man. I think there's a lot to be excited about, to be a Sacred Tales fan, to be a part of the community. So, like always, guys, I'm sure you already have. Make sure that you're following us on all of our platforms. Stay
Twitch.
in touch
Subscribe
with,
on Twitch,
just
guys.
yeah. Make sure that blow this Twitch up, guys. Also, like send it out to your friends. I know some of you guys are really great about getting some people involved. You don't have to tell anybody to buy anything. That's always there's always a crypto friend. I'm probably that crypto friend to people that are always talking about it. And they're like, I'm not buying anything. I'm not telling you to buy something. I want you to come in, see what we're building, check out this game. I think once you do that, people will just fall in love with you guys as a community. Understand that this team here has been doing it a long time, and if you go back to our first AMA we've done to the one now, we're talking about a lot of the same things and keeping the same mission in line. That's what it's really all about. And regardless of how we get there, guys, we're gonna get there, and all of these things that we're talking about is gonna come to fruition. And like I said before, like 5, 10 years from now, this game is gonna be drastically different, and we're gonna be sitting back talking about who knows what at that time. But I'm just excited to see the expansion of the worlds, expansion of the player base. You guys are awesome. So thanks for always listening to me. And yeah, that's really about it for me, Josh.
Perfect. Thank you for your time, and thank you again, everyone, for joining the AMA. And yeah, awesome. Thanks so much. Bye.
We'll see you guys.